I did bring my guinea pig. I'm such a jag.
Get my guinea pig. Ugh.
I say autumn.
Autumn, is autumn very
Sorry, that was my dog. Sorry, what was?
waiting for my dog to go off too. Is autumn very tame?
Very.
Yeah, I wonder if that's a Texel thing.
I don't know. I thought it was because she was traumatized.
Oh, I would have thought traumatized they'd be even jumpier, you know.
Well, they all come out a little different from the sorts, and she'd had babies before she was one because they'd been breeding them when she was rescued. So, and she didn't make any noises for months and months. So neither of them waked, you know, when they're hungry, and they're normally like, and she didn't make a sound. And the other guys that she came with has made like one or two in the last couple of months. And then you could start to hear her rumbling in the background. So she started to talk, but it took months.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, no, ours are noisy.
Yeah.
They're very demanding. She's very placid, the Texel, very placid.
Yeah. And you can just kind of groom them.
Handling she gets.
Yeah.
She needs to be with the handling she gets. When you saw the photo, my daughter's always like posing her in unflattering poses.
But their hair, it makes it so easy to just make them so much fun. No, it's a bit terrible. We have fostered ones that were really loud, and my partner was shocked because he's never had guinea pigs before. And when we had them here, and you just make any crinkle of plastic in their kitchen.
Yes.
And he just went, "What is that?" I said, "Look, I told you ours were really quiet, but that's what they're normally like. It's like guard dogs, you know."
Yeah. That's what ours are like. Yeah, very demanding.
Yeah. So much fun. Anyway, I should actually talk about your book because that's like, you have a book. I have your book.
I have a book somewhere.
I shall hold up your book.
There we are. There's my book.
Isn't it lovely?
Yeah.
And I'm only like, you can't tell me too much because I'm only a chapter or two in.
Oh, well, I won't give away anything now.
No, but given that we're all starting our own self haircuts, that bit was a bit.
Oh yeah, don't get the razor out.
Yeah. So if people don't know, the main character is pretending to be a boy and is shaving her head. So I forget that everyone doesn't know what I know, so I have to.
Because they used to, so they had their cues, the plaits or ponytail, and what they did is to about there, or maybe even further, they shaved it, and then just had the long hair. So they shaved it right to the scalp, mostly, and then the rest was plaited or in a ponytail.
And that was.
So that's what she's having done. She's having it. So I think women just had their hair normal and long, but the men had it shaved back to about there, all around, all shaved and long. Yeah. So that's the scene I have in there where she's having it shaved to look like to keep on looking like a boy.
Do you write important books?
Oh, do I? Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
I guess I write mostly about what interests me personally. So, not that you never want to be didactic or, bang home something, I don't think. But certainly, because like I always say, because I'm Eurasian, because my dad's, Indonesian, Chinese, it's what I can write about, I guess. So it's what I do write about. It's what I enjoy writing about because you're already interested in it, so.
Yeah. Do you always have great ideas? The workshop that I did with you, I don't know how long ago it was now. It was a year or two.
It must be a while ago because I don't do many workshops because they terrify me.
You would never know.
Oh, terrify me. So I really chicken out from a lot of them.
You're my benchmark though, because whenever I think, because it was the one that came away with, well, what I did in your workshop turned into a whole novel, and it's a manuscript.
That's brilliant.
And so I always think if I ever do one, it has to be of a the same quality. It has to have enough content that someone comes away thinking they've learnt stuff, that they've got seeds, that they've got something to take away of that caliber.
To hear, I always walk away from them thinking, oh my God, those poor people. Dribble on for an hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever. That's so good to know. Thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Terrifying. I find them quite terrifying.
Yeah.
And even because I used to teach at uni as well, and I found it terrifying, especially uni students, because they're kind of bored. You know, they're there every week, and they're you know, and it might just be an extra subject they're doing on top of teaching or something. You know, and it's that's challenging. That's challenging.
Yeah. I used to teach first year teaching students. I used to teach them sociology or literature or whatever was going tutor-wise at the time, but first year students and third year students. And so first years were they're just like, they're so full of confidence and why do I have to come here? I'm so big now. And third years are all slightly petrified because they've been into a real school. And so by that point, they're going, help me, tell me anything, help me get through this. So they're much more settled. But the first years, it's a bit of a battle to just get them engaged. But
yeah, that's right. Just to engage them. Yeah, so I find them quite terrifying. And there's always those, you know, 1 or 2 or 3 very keen students. And the poor things, you know, you're always calling on them then, because everybody else just looks blank. So one of the main things were, you know, because it was literary studies, they'd need to read every week, you know, whether it be a novel or a piece of a novel or poetry or whatever. But only literally a few would, you know, literally only a few would. The rest would come there and be like little birds wanting to be hand-fed. So that was really challenging. I thought that was always like something that all the staff talked about, was that they wouldn't read, you know, and it was literature, literary studies we were learning, you know. So that was, so then of course you would just pick on the same students. But anyway.
Well, because they have something to say that's relevant. We used to get, when I first did literary studies a few decades ago, and we used to get the dossier of readings, those ones with the big bound versions of all the printed articles. And I loved that. I still have most of mine because I loved them so much, and you could highlight and it was all done for you and bound up nicely before the online databases really became a thing. Oh my God, now I sound old. But yeah. And then, but I was thinking, because if I still was teaching fiction, I would be using novellas. I'd be using short stories as much as possible, because you can get, I found one of the ones you're in with the Griffith Review, but I have quite a few, but I love the novella editions, and there's essays and the short fiction. And I thought if I was trying to, you know, get people to be reading things that were shorter. We did a lot of novellas in my degree.
Novellas are great. Novellas are great. I think short stories are great too for learning the craft of writing, because I find, and I've said it before, I find the shorter the work, the more effort you do actually put in per word, you know. They have to count more. So I think, and you have to get to your point, I guess, more succinctly and well. Yes, I think short fiction and novellas are very, very good pieces to work with when you're learning to write.
Yeah, I never learnt to write at uni. That's one of my things I wish I'd done. Well, I was way too scared to do anything like that. But we did study, you know, Death in Venice and things that they all looked so tiny, but the analysis is just as big, and the economy of the words. I love that. I really enjoy it. I wish I could master it completely, but I'm getting there.
I mean, there aren't many masters at it, are there? I think you've just got to do the best you can do. And as I think we're all, I mean, there are some masters, obviously, but I think the rest of us are all always learning, you know, especially if you're keen. And I think that's the main thing, is just to persevere, because I think we're all learning. And even my trajectory, you know, as a writer, I mean, you could see it in my books, you know, or in anything, you know, like, and actually, I remember when I was at uni, even doing my master's and PhD, still wondering if I'd ever be good enough to be published. Like, feeling like, you know, even compared to other writers in the PhD room or the master's room, if my work had any quality, you know. So,
but I guess then, if you knew and you were completely confident and you felt like you'd mastered something, you would have no more questions or no more puzzles or nothing to investigate or explore or extend, and you'd probably get pretty bored.
Yeah, I agree. I think there are some very confident writers out there who are, you know, unpublished but still quite confident. I think, and sometimes they are that good, but you're probably right. You're not sort of pushing yourself then, you know, or questioning yourself, and really, you know, because then it makes you, if you are sort of questioning yourself, it makes you delve into other people's writing more, into the craft of writing, experimenting with your own writing, because it's only experimenting through your own writing and what you can pull off that you know how far you can go, you know.
I've never managed to get my novella to the point where I think it's finished, but I love working on it. It's so different to anything else I've written. It's magical realist. It's what I thought would be my first novel. Did you say during the launch this was going to be a shorter novel and then it kept growing?
No, it wasn't supposed to be. Well, it was shorter. It was shorter, but my lovely editor talked me into doing 2 or 3 more chapters, and even my publisher first, you know, they were saying, well, maybe there just needs to be a bit more here and here, and I was like, oh no, like it's fine as it is. And then eventually, you know, my lovely editor talked me into the chapters, and it is a better book for it. It is much better. But you know, when you, like what I was saying is, when you finish a novel, you don't want to. Well, like you were saying about your piece, you just feel like you can't get back into it. You know, like.
Well, you're worried you'll ruin it or you'll unravel it in some way.
Well, yeah, it's already set in stone, you know, in your mind. You know, so to actually, and you're tired. You know, you're just like, ah. You know, like, you know, and I think it was something like, you know, could I do 2, 3 more chapters? Can I have it back by Friday? You know, sort of thing. And it's like so it was quite, it was a bit challenging, but not really. Like once it's done, it's like anything. Once it's done, even going into short stories, I feel like this is torturous. I just can't do it. And then when it's finished, you look back and you're just like, oh, I did it, and there's the piece. But doing it is hard work and torturous, and I always think I'm not going to get it done.
Yeah.
And then I get it done.
And how was the online launch experience? Because you were the first online launch I saw, and gosh, that was fun. It was so much fun.
Yeah, it was really fun. I wonder if that was because we'd sort of been quarantining a bit by then, hadn't we? So it was, I think the main thing was, it was really nice to see people's faces, you know, the people who had their screens on. I think that was the nice thing for everybody, obviously in the background. Like I know a few of the writers were having fun with different hats, so clowning around, which is fun for them, you know, like it's something you can do while listening to a launch or something. I think that's a really good thing about Zoom, as opposed to say the Facebook one, is that you can see everyone and you can see who else is on there, and be cheeky and have a bit of fun. But it was also surprisingly, maybe because of the timing, but also because of everything, it was surprisingly moving, I found. I probably was even more moved and less sort of confronted because I wasn't in front of a huge audience. Usually if I'm in front of an audience, you know, it gives me a bit of a fright. I'm like the guinea pig. And I just have no
freeze
emotion.
up. Yeah.
But maybe because it was just my daughter on my opposite couch, I found it really moving, actually, which I didn't foresee. And it felt really good. I have to say it felt really good. I mean, it was a disappointment you can't go out and party later with your friends and family. But I guess that day will come, hopefully. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, actually.
Yeah. And other engagements and things have you had? I mean, I've seen a lot, but I have nothing to compare it to, but because you've published before and things, do you think there's the same amount of offers there, or?
Look, this book probably I was invited to quite a few festivals and libraries and to do. So the good thing is interviews and everything can go ahead, but obviously the festivals and the library talks and that sort of thing have fallen through. So that's been quite. And I had a residency to do in Ireland. I got it through Maruna. So that's all been disappointing, especially at first, like because this all happened so quickly. You know, it was the beginning of March. It was only the beginning of March. I said to my husband, "Oh, maybe my launch won't go ahead," and he was like, "Don't be ridiculous." That was the beginning of March, and then of course by the middle of March we all kind of knew it wasn't going to go ahead. So it just happened so quickly, and then all the festivals started to fall over. But I think what happens is because you're in the same basket as everyone, it hasn't been as devastating as I thought it would be personally. I would hope, I'm really hoping I'm re-invited next year. That's what I would hope. That's what I would hope. But I think also I just feel really sorry for the people organising the festivals because they put so much work into it. You know, that must be really gutting for them. And also, of course, the big sort of health, problems for people who do catch it or people who might lose family members. I just think all that sort of outweighs being disappointed about something that maybe I'll be able to do next year, hopefully, when this is all over. Good on you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's really, I loved Bran. That was a great chat.
Yeah.
And I think it set the tone too. I think it's really nice that it is just a chat.
Yeah. I really can't interview.
Oh, no.
But then I think there's less pressure because
interview.
Yeah, I think people are professional interviewers, and I think sometimes we lose who people are because of the writing, and we've all rehearsed our responses and we all know those questions and things, but sometimes, like for me, I like to know just who that person is.
Yeah, like you want to know about their guinea pigs. And helping, and I know what you mean because they are all the same questions. I've got the same, like you try to mix up your answer a bit. I know some writers have their pat answers, very entertaining answers. No, I love this idea of just a chat, just getting to know, like Graham. I think we just got to know him a bit better.
Yeah, and with his dog.
Yeah, oh yeah. But even seeing him with the dog, you just,
yeah, I love it. We've met so many cats.
Yeah, you find something more about the people, I think, when it's just chat like this.
Thank you so much for coming on, and congratulations on your new release.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been fun.
Great. See ya.
The number you have dialed has been changed.